Alright guys, welcome back to another video. The only reason I'm laughing now is because I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. Now, if you watched the videos last week when Ben went to Ireland with his mate Dan in the RS6, and they had the girls in the back of the car in the RS6, and everybody was saying the same thing. I can't believe your missus has allowed you to go away again, because he went to Marbella, we went to Marbella in the RS4. He's living the life basically. You wouldn't think he had a girlfriend of like 10 years, so he's acting like a single guy. But this weekend he's gone to Budapest on a lad's weekend, so you think he got away with it in Ireland. The reason Jordan's in the car, you remember Jordan from the previous video, he's got the 350Z. We went off-roading, green laning in this L200, still a bit scratched up, needs a bit of a polish, but it's still going strong. It's going to get us to Birmingham. We're going to pick up a BMW M3 E46. This is the cheapest M3 in the country, so it was listed for sale for 11,250. So I offered the guy £9,000, as you do. You know, we both, you know, you got to lowball him, haven't you? He then said, I'll take 10 grand. So I was like, perfect. But I'm still going to knock him down a little bit on the price, because there's always something wrong with the car. The common problem with them is the rear subframe can crack over time. Now this car's done 159,000 miles, so if it's going to crack, it would have already done. Now I asked the guy, he said, yeah, it's fine, he's checked it. I'm going to try and get it for 97.50, because the only reason being is we paid 97.50 for the RS4 that we picked up this time last year. It'll be a cheap, high mileage car. We'll nip down there now, go and have a look at it. So that's it, I've bought a BMW M3 E46. Sorry I couldn't show you the sort of like the haggling, the buying process, but the guy that bought it off said I'd prefer not to be on camera, so I was like, that's fine. I managed to get another £200 off the car, so paid in the end 9,800, so 160,000 miles, and there's a couple of issues with it, but nothing too bad. I mean, the main thing is the bodywork, pristine condition. There's no issues with the subframe at the back with the usual cracking and the deterioration that these can get. So one of the issues you can see there, the brake light error, fault light, whatever it is, has come on. Supposedly that's going to come off when it's reset by the OBD port. There's a little bit of a discrepancy with his service history, but nothing too major. There's a couple of other issues with the car, but the main thing is it drives really well. It is super smooth. The steering's good, although there is a little bit of an issue with the steering, but the actual car is really smooth to drive. So you know, it's so old. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. Really happy I've gone for another M3. I've had one of these before, and they are a really good car. They're a good solid car. Obviously quite old now, 20 years old. This week when Ben gets back, he'll get to see it, and I have no idea what he's going to say, because I've not even told him that I was even interested in buying an M3 really. So I'll get back to Warrington. It's about a 2-hour drive now. Should be okay. It's Sunday, and I'll be able to stretch its legs a little bit, see how it drives properly. So there it is, back, 2-hour drive back from Birmingham, made it dead easy, absolutely smooth drive, really smooth, really happy with it. It is in immaculate condition, as you can see. The bodywork is unmarked really. It's just been ceramic coated, which you can tell really, because yeah, you can tell it's had some sort of treatment. Can't see any rust on it. On the arches, it's probably had paint at some point over its lifetime, because 158,000 miles, it's going to have had a knock. It's going to maybe have had paint on the bumpers, something like that, but at this moment in time it just looks really clean. So it's got the aftermarket little spat skirt things, splitter things, I don't even know what they're called, to be honest. Obviously got no front number plate at the moment in the windscreen, so probably leave it there for a bit, because it does actually look quite good the way it is. The wheels have been freshly cut, so it looks like they've been diamond cut at some point recently. Really good condition. Locking wheel nut, didn't ask him about that, hopefully that's in the glove compartment. Unfortunately they've not got the best tyres on them. Unioil Rain Sport 5, sounds great. They're brand new tyres, tread's really good, they'll do the job. Obviously if I had my pick I'd put Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's on it, but they'd be just replacing them for replacing's sake. So a few things that are not standard. I don't think these come in black originally. I think they were silver. So they've been painted. Obviously the front grille, that again, I'm sure that's aftermarket because I don't think they come in black. I think they were silver as well. It is the sunroof version. I think the non-sunroof versions, they were like, well, they're like rocking horse shit basically. You ain't getting one. These do suffer for the rear subframe, you know, they rot and then they crack and all the subframe gets messed up. I can't see any signs of it cracking or ever had any work on it really. I mean, it looks fine there. Obviously looking underneath would be the best way to do it, but I took the guy's word for it. He said it was fine, he checked it, and I believe him. A little minor cosmetic issue really. This is all cracked, which, you know, is, I suppose that's normal for a car of this age. But the guy has given me the replacement bits. He did say good luck putting them on, so I don't think they're the easiest things to do. So new starter motor, discs, pads, alternator, lower arms, inner, outer steering arms, full service, rear lights, front indicators, window scuttle, new badges, central locking motors, 4 wheels powder coated and recut with 4 matching tyres. Starts and drives perfect, which I can actually vouch for that now because I've driven it back. So the engine does sound really good, nice and smooth. There we go, there's the tick over. Obviously it's just come back from Birmingham, so it's still quite warm, but it does rev up okay. So yeah, I don't actually think there's anything wrong with that engine. It sounds really good to me. Obviously the exhaust sounds the normal raspy exhaust that you get on these E46 M3s. They all sound the same. The leather seats, heated electric, they work fine. The seats have done 158,000 miles supposedly. Bit of paint on them there, that'll come off. This for a 160k car, I suppose, is normal. A little bit of sag there, nothing too major. You can't feel like the foam inside or whatever they do fill it with is fine. These would probably come back. We know a guy in Bolton who can bring the seats back, obviously not from the dead, but he can make them look a lot nicer. Obviously the passenger side isn't as bad, but they're fine, they work, they're electric. The steering wheel, again, because it has done all them miles, is pretty worn out. I mean, that's pretty bad really. That's right through. So maybe look at getting that retrimmed in some Alcantara, something like that, some sort of suede mix. That'll bring that back nice. Obviously the inside is going to be tatty. That is an aftermarket gear stick knob thing. I don't know what it's off. Could be off anything. Probably an X5, who knows. Let us know in the comments what's that off. It's definitely not the original, I know that. This works fine. We've got a nice little hands-free kit thing there, which is up there. So connect the phone to it, that's not too bad. And one thing I did notice, I thought this was a wrap when I first seen it. It looks a bit weird, but I think it is actually stock. I think this is how they come out. Nice little weird, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a carbon fibre effect, aluminium mix of something, who knows. But yeah, overall, for the mileage, yeah, it's not the cleanest of vehicles, but I think with a bit of a valet, bit of a touch up, some nice detailing products, get rid of all this, it'll come up quite nice. It doesn't actually smell bad either, which is surprising. But 158,000 miles, I mean, some people wouldn't even call that high mileage, because if you think about it, 12,000 miles a year, it should really be on 200k now, over. So low mileage really, if you want to look at it on the positive side. So as you can see there, pre-delivery check in O2, then it's running in check at 1200 miles. That was in October 02, and then 5 months later at 13,000 it's had that check and inspection, oil service. 4 months later it's on another 15,000 miles in 4 months. That's ridiculous. 3 months after that and it's done another 14,000 miles. I mean, what's happening with this? That has done some distance in a short space of time. 4 months after that it's done another 14,000 miles, which is again ridiculous really. So 56, and then going from the second, so 5 months later it's done another 14,000 miles. What's that? That's 10 months later. Then it starts to slow down. That's 11,000 miles in 10 months, which we're getting into the realms of normality here. That's more or less right. And then it starts to level out here. So 108,000 miles. So that's 10k in, well, 7 months really. So it's still quite high. So it's done the majority of the mileage in that period really. So 4 years it's done 108,000 miles. Then this is where there's a problem, because it doesn't then get serviced until there, which is done 133,000 in, well, 2012. There's nothing after that, so it didn't get serviced after that in the book. 9,800. I think it's the cheapest manual M3 E46 in the country at this moment in time. You can buy them, but manual, you're paying £2 extra over on the SMG, and obviously everybody knows the SMG, they're not the best. Definitely wanted the manual version. Obviously I didn't want to pay loads, and the thing is, I could have spent another £5,000 or £7,000 on a lower mileage, you know, car, but really spending all that money extra, then are you going to want to drive it? Because you're going to be thinking, well, it's a low mileage car, do I really want to drive it? No. Get a high mileage car. If I put 10k on this car now over, say, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, it's not really going to make a difference to the price. It's going to be a 170,000 mile car rather than a 160,000 mile car. The only problem I can see that I'm going to have with this car is that little period, the 25,000 miles where it wasn't serviced. In the book it probably was serviced, it just wasn't documented. That's the only thing I can think that might be a problem. So there it is. What do you think of it? 9,800, 158,000 mile car. What do you actually think? Have I paid too much? Have I got a bargain? Is it worth it? You know, what are your views on it? What should I change? What should I, you know, what should I do to it? Give me some ideas, because in a few months, or a few weeks even, I do want to start doing something to it. There is the M3 tax, so everything on these is still probably dead expensive. I remember the last one I had, everything is like either £500 or £1,000. Ben's back from Budapest tomorrow. Hopefully he likes it. If he doesn't, don't really care. But you all know he's like Audi fanboy, so if he's not got an Audi badge on, he won't like it. He definitely doesn't like BMWs. So make sure you're subscribed. Watch out for the next video on this. Hopefully in that time nothing goes wrong with it, and I'll see you then. Oh, and by the way, thanks Jordan for taking the time on a Sunday morning. I know you prefer to be in bed. Take me down to Birmingham to pick up the car.